Hey, Cadre. I wasn't going to do a video today, but Barber Dave, Hombres Barbershop, texted me. He told me about this deal he's running in his shop earlier this week. I was going to share it, over the weekend. He goes, no, we got to get this out before the weekend, before the holiday weekend, increase the traffic and stuff. So we'll talk about that today. That's why so I grabbed my official TSC extra lather storage shirt. We're doing, like the last shave, the Titleist Essence with a Feather Pro, period. Not Pro Guard, Pro Blade on it. This is my fourth shave with this blade. Last one went pretty good. I posted on my journal. I had one call this week, corporate version of Zoom call. It's not Zoom, it's something else, but where I had to wear a tie. And I did not think this fully through. It was the second time I used this blade. The cheeks are just fine with this thing. It's when you get down into the neckle region where it can get a little dicey. And this is where I might have a problem trying to carry on a conversation and pay attention to this lethal weapon. Anyway, the second time I used this, I got a little weeper down here. Normally not a big deal, except I had to wear a collared shirt to work with a tie. Maybe if I was smarter than I was, I would have just worn the collared shirt open a bit to let it air out and then put the tie on at work. That would have been smart, now that I think about it. Anyhow, I thought I stopped the weeper with the alum block, but no. And the toner didn't stop it. So I kept, rinsing it off and hoping it was going to stop, and got dressed and kind of washed the now dirty spot on my shirt a couple times at home with just soap and water, and then I got to work and saw there's another spot. I just kept thinking it's gonna, this is the last one, it's gonna stop, and it was kind of a pain. I was thinking this was not smart at all. But I used this yesterday, no weepers, and the alum sting is much reduced. It's a little bit there, but that's okay. If it's reducing every time, then that means I'm learning my lesson. It's like getting back to your shaving roots. I mentioned this before about my signature line on the forums used to be, when you think you're shaving with no pressure, you still aren't. And I think Barber Dave told me that back in Badger and Blade. Ooh, did you see that? I just did like this, and intercepted a slice with my finger. See, that's where I cut off. Never mind. That would have been more than a weeper. That would have been bad. Just using a DE razor, got the learning process. And shifting from a cartridge where you can pretty much mash that thing against your face and not cause any damage, to what feels like almost holding the razor off of your face, right? Like whether you think about it or not, depending on your razor, say you're using a very aggressive razor, I would think for most of us, the part is that you're almost floating that razor on your face. And that's kind of where, is it skill or is it your, it's a good thing I got a place for the excess lather. What's the excess soap? That's a soap chunk that did not lather. What was I saying? Is it skill or is it the equipment that I have mentioned? You go, whoop, son of a, that's like that cutthroat razor guy, man. He starts with like his brushing, just like wipes it down his goatee, and doesn't matter what all gets covered in soap, and it just looks wrong. That's all. It's just wrong. Although I can imagine that if you lather up your facial hair that's remaining, that it probably smells good throughout the day. But then you get into the problem where you have to match any aftershaves or colognes with the smell wafting up from your goatee, which is a whole nother set of problems. Anyway, getting back to what we were talking about, is it skill or is it the equipment? I went back and shaved with some of my early razors and had to kind of retell myself to back off, because some of the newer equipment, you don't have to be quite as careful. You can add a little bit of pressure and it's like you've got a margin of error built in, if that makes any sense. Which seems, I don't know, a little unfair skill-wise. But that's why it's fun to get up like the Asylum. Man, I'm doing this pass first because I'm going to go against the grain on the last pass. That's not the Asylum. This Asylum RX. Anyway, this where you really have to, let's just say you're on the razor's edge. That's a good saying. Somebody should use that. Where there isn't a margin of error, really. It's if you are using more than the minimal pressure, you will feel it with the alum block. That's why I say it's a good learning tool for everybody, including myself, when kind of learning a new razor, new stroke, new blade. Because I find it is super easy when you have that margin of error built into your equipment to totally use it, to not think about the pressure as much, to use a little bit too much pressure, because it's quicker, it's easier. So it is kind of cool to get back to a razor where you need to be back into minimal pressure, holding it off your face, riding the razor's edge. So I probably shouldn't have gone down that far. You saw me do this before. I don't think I've done it since. Maybe I did it one time, toying with this whole complete against the grain. There you go, and I think either it's, again, just more skill learned over the days, or a blade that really takes no pressure. That you can see that, go back, yeah, this is my trick to get my views up. Go back and watch the first time I used this, which is just one video ago, I think. I talked about being concerned about, the extra cookies in the cheeks getting pushed up, because that's happened before when I've shaved with an open blade. totally against the pass, against the grain on the cheeks. But I think, I don't know, like I said, something's changed, either the blade or just I learned a little bit more since then that I'm able to do it with such little pressure. It's not doing that. And again, it's mind over matter. You would not have thought that shaving is just such a deep, thoughtful process. And if you're using a cartridge, it's not. You're mindless. I'm sorry. Takes no thought whatsoever. But I say mind over matter because when you hear audibly the hair is being cut away, there's this instinctive reaction to push a little harder, thinking, oh, there's hair left there. I'm gonna try harder to get rid of it. And you gotta trust the blade. You gotta let it do its work. I didn't say what we're using. We're using Pinnacle. All you need is Love shaving soap. Let me rinse off here. Show you speaking of, we'll do the old alum test. I think that went really well. See, but I don't know. Actually, this side is fine. I got some little stinging here, little sting, the right side, a little down here. But again, less than the last shave. So progress being made. Thinking about it. Maybe you guys caused it. Maybe if I wasn't distracted, it would have been even better. We shall find out what it is. Like I said, this is shave 4. So that means I should have 2 more shaves left on this blade. We will see. Using the Gray Dog quilt brush, cool brush. Haven't seen him around in the cadre. Missed that fella. Super generous. All right. What toner? Let's go into the drawer and pull out the new one. What is she? It's got a weird name. It doesn't, because it's got rind. Rind is not a pleasant word. It is a pink, grapefruit, and orange rind. Why wouldn't they say orange zest? That's the same darn thing. Zest sounds so much nicer. Orange rind. It's like we picked it up out of the trash and ground it up and put that back. So I know what you're all waiting for. Reach into the drawer here. It's the moment of brought to you by Hombres Barbershop, the sweetest smelling barbershop in Tucson. So, I started the show with a teaser. What's the deal this weekend, this holiday weekend? It came up in the forums. If you are a man with a wife with a beard, I think he means mustache. Did we say mustache? Anyway, if, as a man, gentleman gets older, you start seeing hairs kind of more prominent in places where they didn't used to be. Same with women. It's all right. It's okay. It's actually, it's not that okay. But it happens. Let's say it happens. It's natural. You get your wife down to Hombres Barbershop. 4. Ready? You walk in. You got to give them the finger guns. You got to say, woo doggy, 4th of July. And she gets a free bikini waxing if you let them shave her facial hair. That's it. Bargain. She's beautiful all over for the long holiday weekend. Finger guns, 4th of July, free bikini waxing. You heard it here first. See you on the forums.